Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays Live. What a beautiful setting we have for us today at the Columbus Convention and Visitors Bureau remote. And we're pleased to welcome now Michael Busby, Vice President of Career Technical and Workforce Education, East Mississippi Community College, Executive Director of the Communiversity. Michael, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about EMCC and the Communiversity and some good things happening there. So
you bet. I know there's lots going on there. Always marvel every time and just smile when I pass by that Communiversity on the road out here en route. I've said before, I think it's just a fantastic model. I think every community college in our state should replicate that. So congratulations to you guys for the great work. It just makes perfect sense. As a longtime employer, you know, you hear it all the time, and I know this is the goal. Employers want to think, they want to know, they want to have confidence that what students are learning in the classroom as part of their education is preparing them for the actual jobs they're going to work once they're out and they're employed.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think we do a great job of that there. Now, all of our community colleges in the state do a good job of that. But I want to kind of hit on some classes and programs there a second, if I can, the career technical side of the house that leads to that employment you're talking about.
Sure.
You know, the model for education has really changed a lot, in my opinion. And we've seen this and done this. But when I was young, which has been a while, you know, you went to the university, you got your bachelor's degree, you talked about maybe a master's degree, and they said you're going to conquer the world, make a lot of money. It didn't really work out that way every time, did it? So now these career technical 2-year, even 1-year programs in some cases have been really on the rise. We have grown with those, and we have a very diverse offering. There's over 40 some odd career tech programs, some of those in the Communiversity, some at the GT campus, some in Scuba, and things such as mechatronics, industrial maintenance, electrical technology, and then go in a different direction, cosmetology, barbering, culinary arts. All those things have just grown to the point where students are realizing they're keeping their debt down by coming in and doing 1 or 2 years, and usually getting a lot of that paid for by aid and different scholarships. They're going to work after 2 years, and they're making really good starting salaries staying in Mississippi. So it's a win-win for us, for the students, for the employers, as you said. We just think that model has really taken off. And then the other cool thing is, a few years ago, this stuff wouldn't transfer to MUW, MSU, and now they realized, hey, these kids are getting a good education. They're taking those transfers, and they're getting the 4-year degree to go on top of that for promotions at their job. So it's really been a big thing for us in the state, I think.
And I can certainly attest to that as well, having seen so many of the fantastic graduates that go through those programs and talking to the instructors and the folks behind the scenes that make all that work. And you're so right. You know, back in my day, the more traditional linear curriculum was good, but you'd find yourself, and employers would get frustrated because, well, that's great, except that's not actually what we do here. Yeah. And this is more aligned with that. And I think that's been the evolution in education in general. Would you agree?
I do agree completely. And our state has embraced that, really.
Yeah, I agree.
We've got leaders at the level in Jackson, legislators and folks at the state level that realize this, and they're pushing people towards more of this. Now, that model to go to the university is still great. It still works for a lot of people.
Sure.
And certainly I did that. We all did that. So I think that's also a good model, but the option is to go the other routes.
Yeah.
And to me, the key is, a lot of people need to figure out where they're going to live. And if they're going to stay local, stay in the GT area in Mississippi, these trade school things really, really are a great deal. And honestly, those starting salaries in a lot of cases outdo the 4-year stuff. They really do. So.
And I was just reading a report this morning about the challenges in the job market for the 4-year degree. Not trying to discourage folks from that, but it's a pretty tough job market out there right now.
It is. It really is. And that's why, we are blessed with such a great little area here. The industry has grown here.
Yeah.
We partner with all these new companies for sure for these career tech programs, also for workforce training. We do a lot of workforce training individualized for companies like PACCAR, Steel Dynamics, ADI, Aluminum Dynamics, Yokohama over in West Point, Airbus, and I could go on and on. I'm sure I left some out, so don't hold that against me, please, guys. But those companies have hired. They've come in here. They've asked for extra training on the workforce side, which is a non-credit style training, but still very, very important to support the industry. And again, those folks are getting to go to work quickly and doing real well. So that's the best part of the whole thing.
So talk about that a minute, Michael, because sure. you guys at the Communiversity, for sure, you actually are instructed by and work hand-in-hand, collaborate with the employers to develop the instruction, the curriculum.
Correct, we do. So That works a couple ways. We do offer some standalone across-the-board classes anyone can come take, so such as a CDL, commercial driver's license type thing, maybe construction training. But we'll get information or reached out to from an industry saying, hey, we need specific training in maybe a crane operator, maybe forklift. It could be anything really.
Sure.
And we've got folks on hand that have the expertise. If not, we go find more folks that do have it and provide that training for the industry. And they send their people to us. They come in, go through a short-term program, go back there and fit in better. In a lot of cases, get promoted and raised up in some cases. There, across the board, I can't speak for that, but certainly that does happen. So that's a big piece, I think, of the training we do and the training we need for this area. Again, a lot of folks deserve some credit for that as well, but sure. we love playing a part in that for sure.
So I'm certain with all the communications tools that are available to us today, you stay in touch somewhat with the graduates that go through the programs and they come back and give you some feedback?
We do. That's one of the things we track. I mean, we're required to track that, and we want to do it anyway.
Sure.
But I'll tell you the job placement rate that when they get out of here, we do track that number, and I'll give you a ballpark number there, and that varies per program.
Yeah.
With the career technical stuff, right around 90% of the kids that come out of here, and I say kids, it could be adults in some cases,
sure.
that graduate are working in the field or related field, and that is
awesome.
That's an awesome number, and that's the number that most community colleges in our state is pretty close there. So we all. I'm giving my sister colleges some love. They do the same thing. Yeah. It's really good. But that's what you want. You want to see those kids going to work and what they paid to come get done at their school. So.
You talked earlier about the support that this receives from our lawmakers, our legislators, our statewide leaders. It does feel like we're somewhat ahead of the other states in this area.
I would agree with you on that. I mean, again, I don't know that I've got a real measurable with the other states, but I can promise you that our governor and the legislators and Accelerate Mississippi and the group there at the state level have done a lot of homework and do a good job of supporting the efforts at community colleges and driving the industry efforts and making sure that we're training people the right directions, and that is certainly appreciated. And as you said, I do think it's put Mississippi forward a lot more than many other states.
I think we'd have to agree that the results speak for themselves when you've got massive amount of investment coming into our state. And these employers, they're aware of these programs here, and they know that helps fill out their workforce.
That's right. And, the career tech side, we actually let the employers come in, and they talk with curriculum about us. So we've got a committee with the employers. And, for example, the welding group, we've got a group of welders that come in here and sit down with our teachers and the dean and say, all right, we're teaching, we want to know more about this for our employers, and they want this training, and we can add that in, without going through a huge rewrite at the state. If it's fairly small, we can do that. If we need a rewrite, we do it. But certainly that is a part of the curriculum development. Even on the transcript credit side, it is.
Yeah. So what about the kids that go through those programs and then continue on with their education and advance to the traditional 4-year schools?
Yeah, so that's kind of a newer thing, but most of those kids go to work first, and then an employer may say, hey, Mr. Doe or Sir, we want to move you to a supervisor, but in order to do that, we need a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
They go back, they call MUW, MSU, whoever it may be. All of our state schools are doing this now with the career tech transfer credit and say, hey, I need this young man or young lady to be trained in a bachelor's degree. They can do most of that online now to finish that degree, and they still can work, but they get that promotion in the degree so they can go forward. So that's been a big deal for us as well. Now, some go straight, but most of them go ahead and work, and they come at it back on.
Okay. Well, it sounds like overall it's creating lots of positive benefit for the state of Mississippi.
It is. It really is. And, I'm just happy to be a part of being out there. And we have great faculty, great trainers, great teachers out there. So I got to give props there for sure. I just get to sit there and kind of watch it all work, which is great. So
yeah, and having visited and toured the Communiversity, I could say it's world class. I mean, like I said, this is what education really should look like.
We're proud of it, and of course, that was an effort by our state and by our local governments, and a lot of folks had to do in that, and we appreciate that.
And some Washington support too, right?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
No, it makes total sense, and I think it's a shining star, a tremendous asset for not only the community but for the entire state of Mississippi. I brag about it all the time, and especially when I think back before we understood that was a preferred approach to training. Of course, the world is so specialized today, right?
It is.
You almost have to.
It is. I don't know really how how kids come in and right now don't have that understanding and make it. And we try to tell them. I will say that narrative's changed some. our high school counselors, our parents are kind of figuring this out.
They're
now,
getting it.
Before it was like, man, go to college, and that's still great.
Sure.
But these other things now, they're starting to see, hey, this is a really good avenue to go down.
I think you're exactly right, and I think the best is yet to come, honestly.
I agree with you.
So congratulations to you guys and all that you do to help the state of Mississippi. Michael Busby, Vice President of Career, Technical, and Workforce Education at East Mississippi Community College and the Executive Director of the Communiversity right down the street. Michael, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. We're stepping aside for a break right now. Once again, we're in Columbus, Mississippi for the Columbus Lounge Convention and Visitors Bureau at 10:50. It's Francis Glenn, the Tourism Director. Stay with us.